What I mean again by north-south matrix is this, Web, lumbar. We're talking about passing right now. So he's down, okay? Remember, if he's on his back, I have to look and see where his feet are in relation to his knees. If I can reach right here, okay, I can begin to go here, and I want to get here, okay? And I want to scoop this arm here. My objective is to sit on what I started calling the saddle, which is his shoulder and his head area. I like to have my feet up so that they can drive forward, so I can push my body down. But in order for me to really sit, I gotta be able to do this as I pull the arm up, okay? Because when I sit right here, it's very unpleasant on his neck as I pull this arm up. So it pulls it into me, okay? But here, I wanna drive forward because I wanna control this position. Rotate back. Okay? My objective here is just to control the position. I can do it with two hands here, with the Kimura grip. I could do it with one grip, controlling this knee here. I just want to make him work and make it very difficult for him to free his head. Very difficult to free your head when your legs are folded like a fetus. If you look, he's in a fetal position, very weak. He'll probably want to kind of, recompose himself, right? So as he starts moving around, okay, I'm gonna keep walking, pulling, and staying in control, okay? Because I assure you, he's doing more work than I am, okay? I can push this, and all of this is still under control. I can switch back to this at any time. I can lean forward, control that arm. If he wants to roll to his back, I drive to the right. If he wants to roll to his knees, I'll let him, because then he puts himself in the turtle matrix. Why not? That's why they're very close. The turtle matrix and the north-south matrix. If I want to put him back into the north-south matrix, I'm going to grab here, and that knee, pull him back this way here, step over, now he's just on the other side, okay? And I'm still controlling. If you think of the concept of north-south matrix, I'm controlling the head. Head control is side control, okay? Before we even get into anything. If I go back to side control, okay? This is me controlling his hip, but I'm not controlling his arms. He can frame my hip, he can frame my head. And in our reality, he can begin to move his hips out. And getting his knees in. I have to start moving to match his movement. Because if he moves, I don't move, he gets one step ahead, two steps, and it's gonna be a problem for me, because he's gonna put me in an open guard, or a half guard, or a closed guard, okay? When I'm here, if I'm here, okay, and I have a crossface, I'm not submitting him here. Unless you just drive such a heavy crossface here, his right hand's gonna go in my hip, the other hip. He's gonna frame that hip. He's gonna frame my head and move it, and he's going to tuck his chin and elevate his hips. That put a lot of pressure on my grip. And look, his hips are already moving out. I'm not controlling his hips. Walk your hip out, one movement, and then put your right knee in across. Okay. You see how easy that is? Especially when it's done 1, 2. I'm not in a position to move. So, from here, I have the underhook, and we're gonna go from this position here. I'm gonna grab his collar. He's framing my hip here. I already feel him framing my hip with the inner kind of lower part of his elbow here, okay? And I'm gonna put my leg up as I'm driving in here, so I keep my head low, okay? I'm gonna cup here, I'm gonna lift, and I'm gonna get into the scarf hold here. Straighten your arm this way, okay? This is scarf hold, okay? What's very important is that I have a good control. The problem here is that his hand is free to go in front of my face, okay? So once you get into the scarf hold, it's good to keep your head down. The problem here is that my submissions are limited because I gotta move my head in order to be able to do anything, okay? Like attack this arm or anything, okay? This is scarf hold, okay? As compared to if he gets his underhook here and I get here, this is the Kesa Gatame, okay? I'm controlling the head. You don't wanna hold here. You wanna control the head and roll the head and scoop his head off the mat. Pinch here, okay? As these feet keep me off my hip. So all the pressure's on his rib. You feel that, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. The more I roll here, the more control I have. But I don't want to roll back too far because then I'll lose my balance. I don't want to roll too far forward because he'll push me forward. So it's this balance point. But the one thing I want to control is the head. I cannot allow him to control my arm with his head, okay? Which far too easily happens here. Because here, which is common, he's controlling my arm. Because here, if he claps his hands together and gets a grip, as he slowly walks his feet towards his hip, he bridges up and rolls to the left. He can easily take me with him and over, okay? Oh, sorry. Okay, so as you get here, ladies and gentlemen, please turn the drums off, okay? Yes. So we're here, okay? Kesa Gatame, okay? I'm cupping here, and it's like I'm trying to pull his shoulder out of his shoulder socket. His arm out of the shoulder socket. This hand, scooping, okay? First thing what I want to do is, I want to understand that there's going to be this arm exposed. I want to kind of push my hip out, scoop under that arm, chain my hands together in an S, and I want to be able to torque that arm. This is done to trigger a reaction, because I really want him to straighten his arm. However, if you pinch here, screw your hip back and screw your hip in, you S grip here, okay? I'm gonna lift up and I'm gonna bring my S, tighten it as it locks his shoulder, and I bring everything tight, okay? This is fairly easy to defend, okay? This will be the first one. You get it? Fantastic. This is a decoy, okay? This is just a trigger reaction. The reaction is he'll straighten it so that I can catch his hand. So as I begin to now push it across my thigh, okay? This is another decoy. This can work as an arm lock. If I get here and I push it, but he won't let me do it. He's either gonna roll thumb up or thumb down. If he rolls thumb up, I guide it right into the key lock. I don't wanna put my foot down here because it pushes him right into key lock, especially if I pull the head, okay? I can do this, I can do this, okay? Oftentimes they'll roll their thumb towards here, okay? This right here is gonna be more of a kimura because he's gonna bend it, roll it this way, yes. So as I straighten this leg, I lift this one, and I even cup it here. So this turns it into a kimura. You have to lift this leg as you straighten this one, so it creates a fulcrum. If I'm here, it may not do it. With Andrew's legs, it may. Look, lift up, okay? It works nicely when you're tilted down here and you straighten it and lift at the same time, okay? Sometimes they escape that hand and then, yeah, and you just guide it through right there, okay? So lift. Another thing happens here is that if I go here and I can get under, I can move this across for a head arm choke here. I go belly down, connect my temple, and I'm gonna drive into him, squeeze, and walk away. Another escape for him, just pull this elbow down to the mat and turn to the side. So he pulls it to the mat, and I trap it here. My knee goes on the inside here. As I get the leg through here, pull it right into my thigh right here, okay? Like a spider guard here. This hand comes out as I slide onto him, put this hand in the pocket, hook his head, and now I have an arm bar here. I can go down here, or I can sit back here. I have arm bar, and I have, okay. So the first thing we're gonna do is the control. We're gonna do the Kesa Gatame, okay? The thing you gotta be aware of is this. This is not the best control for street purposes and law enforcement, because that arm can pound you in the head, okay? Here, I can at least control here, okay? And I can begin to step over and control this arm in a very effective way. I have the arm on and I have a straight arm, okay? But for jiu-jitsu purposes, here it's not that great either. You just hit me in the back of the head right here. Yeah. But we're talking about non-striking situations. Okay, for striking, I wouldn't do these positions. I would do it just to control that arm, but I would make sure that both arms are controlled. You're gonna cup the tricep. Right knee is gonna be under. Left foot is out. Not here, here, so I can have swing in the hips, and I'm gonna pull his head, and I'm gonna scoop it right about the crown of his head. Bernie, we're here, he'd tell us, well, what is this right here?
That's the...
Exactly. So, okay, we're right here, okay? The head, the back of the head, top. Somewhere where the yarmulke would sit, I guess, right there, okay? So I wanna keep pulling his head, because if he claps his hands together in particular, okay? I wanna pull his head, because as he begins to lift me up, it counters his lifting, okay? If my hand's floating here, and he starts lifting his hips, I got a problem here. I gotta keep him attached to me. I cannot let him attach me to him. This scoops, and I'm dynamic here. This knee should never be out here. It should never be like this, or like this, or like this, or like this. Your legs have to be constantly on him, and this arm pulling. When you rotate, you're here, okay? See, that's how I felt with Elvis. Elvis was just worse, you know, I dripped some sweat right on web here, okay? So you're here. So I want your hip to be off the mat, okay? So that here, you can scoot your hip back, feel that bend, scoot under his tricep here, get the S grip here, okay? With your left hand, and you're gonna roll the S grip together as you sit into it, squeeze, and you'll torque that shoulder, okay? On some it will work, for some it's not, but this is just intended to get the reaction. So for now, you're gonna make a scooping motion with the right hand, left hand, cupping, pinching, and rotating. So as I rotate, it is literally putting a lot of pressure on his shoulder, and I'm scooping his head, okay? If he tries to move his hips away, I can move with him, okay? But if he tries to scoot his hips in, okay, I'm constantly moving with him, okay? So that I'm here, all right? And you're scooping, and he's gonna try to put his head down, try to tilt you. Okay, that's position one, okay? You're gonna scoop with the left hand, S grip. Here, look. See how that elbow bends? As I'm here, scoot and scoop. S. See how it's caught out? And I pinch my elbow as I bring everything together. And I'm basically locking his shoulder. I need to lock his shoulder here, and I need to rotate with my hips, his shoulder, because it's like pushing his shoulder right into the rotator. Okay, let's do that. 1, 2, 3.